So, Nikon just figured out a way to make this lens even better. In this video, we're going to talk about the much anticipated NIKKOR Z 24-70 f2.8 Mark II. This video won't be about a review of the lens. There's many of videos out there like that already on YouTube. What we're going to do today is ask, if you already have the Mark I, is it worth buying the Mark II? Is it worth the upgrade? Okay, before we really dig into the question of whether this lens is actually worth you upgrading from the Mark I to the Mark II version of the Z 24-70 f2.8 lens, let's go over the specs, what the new features are of this lens, and then we'll dive deep into, is it actually worth it? Because that was a question I was asking myself, and I saw a few others ask the same thing or comment on the same thing on a lot of Nikon Facebook groups. So let's get to it. Let's get to the comparison between the Mark I and the Mark II, and then we'll talk about whether it's actually worth paying for the upgrade. Let's go. So obviously both are Z mount. The Mark I has the extended zoom, while the Mark II has internal zoom, so that's a serious plus. Now, the Mark I is approximately 805 grams, while the other is 675 grams. So that means that Mark II is considerably lighter. We should definitely feel and enjoy the difference. Okay? Then now filter size. So look, this is another great news. 82 millimeters for the original and 77 millimeters for the Mark II. And I believe 77 millimeters is the 70 to 200. Yes, it is. It is. It is the same as the Z 70 to 200 f2.8 Mark I. Okay, in case they come up with a Mark II. So that means you only need one filter, ND or otherwise, to rule them all if you're out there and about. So that's really cool. I love that. And it's cheaper too. So let's not kid around about that obvious fact. You have a step motor here, a stepping motor in the first version, and you have a Silky Swift voice coil motor, which I'm not sure what that is exactly, but it's much better, and it says it's 50% quieter, so that's only, and faster, so that's going to be fantastic. And that's what we have here, and this one is near silent. Now, I've never had an issue with this, with the noise of the first version, but this says it's even quieter, so that's awesome. Now, this is something that we do want to take heed to, okay? Minimum focusing difference. It's definitely, what is it, about 35% better, something like that. So from 15 inches, that's over a foot, to less than a foot. Okay? That's fantastic. That's more like 35 or 40% better. So closer focusing distance. So that's great. You do have a reproduction ratio, so that's 0.22% versus 0.32 time. I'm not exactly sure what that is, so we'll move right ahead. I'm not a technician here. Now, this is cool. So you have a clickless focusing or control ring, and then here you can put it on click or non-click, so up to you. I know a lot of brands, I think Sigma, Lumix, and Sony, like they have these options, so it's cool to have that option too. Some people like the click. You want to go old school and kind of feel your click or be more tactile with it. Cool. For video, you may not want that click, just to keep it quieter. There you go. Okay. Focus limit switched. You don't have one here, but you do have one here, which is pretty cool. Which is, yeah, you don't have it here, but you do have that on the 70 to 200, obviously. And then you have blades. You have 9 versus 11, so it should have even more better display of bokeh. But I'm sure most people won't notice the difference anyway. Anti-reflective coating, you got that. But on the Mark II, you have a amorphous coat, which I'm sure is freaking fantastic, okay? Filter access from lens hood. You don't, but you do here. Okay, which is awesome. I like that. I know it's super like, it sounds so little and, petty, but when you want to change the application of a variable ND filter, that's going to be clutch. And I usually use variable ND filters on my zoom lenses when I'm shooting video. So that's a very nice touch. And I like to have a hood on there just for added protection. Lens element, you have 17 in the original and you have 14 in the Mark II. And you have a function button. You have 1 on the Mark I and 2 on the Mark II. So you're definitely getting a lot of new added additional valuable features on the Mark II, which is what it should be. But the Mark I is still a fantastic workhorse. That's why I still have it. And we'll talk about that more in a second. All right, so obviously it's saying it's part of the ultimate trio of Nikon zoom lenses, the 14 to 24, the 24 to 70, which is what this lens is, and the 70 to 200. And that pretty much covers most photographers' needs. And me as a portrait photographer, that pretty much covers all my needs. Okay, let's talk about the price real quick. So the NIKKOR Z 24 to 70 f2.8 Mark II is available for pre-order at $27.95 on NikonUSA.com. Now that is a definite jump from the Mark I original version, which is now available for $2,095 on NikonUSA.com. So that is a $700 difference. For some of us, that may be a huge difference. First of all, if you're getting into the holy trinity of lenses, that $700 difference, are you getting a whole lot? Well, first of all, it looks like when we're talking about pro lenses, they're going up and up by the second, because I remember when $1,500 to $1,800 for F mount was like your pro grade lenses. Now we're talking over $2,000 easy for pro grade lenses, and it's only getting more expensive. Obviously, we have tariffs that affect the price point, as well as inflation that affects the price point and other variables as well. But the reality is the price is the price is the price. I can tell you from my experience of using this version that I've never had an issue with this lens. This lens has been tried and true. Now granted, it does have weight. You do feel it. So for video work, that's why I probably have used the 24 to 120 a lot more, just because it's that much lighter, and that matters to me. But if I'm able to put it on sticks, or aka a tripod, and shoot my video, I like getting that extra stop or so of light. And guess what? This thing's as sharp as a tack. So it's a fantastic lens. The real question is if you already have this lens, is it actually worth upgrading? In my opinion, if you already have it and you do plan to shoot a lot more video, I can see it being very valuable to you to upgrade to the new lens, because you have less focus breathing, quiet and faster autofocusing, which is great. But if you shoot video, a lot of times you may shoot manual, so that doesn't really matter a whole lot. But if you are shooting as a one-man band, that can be great. It's lighter and it's smaller filter size, etc. So it's all these great advantages if you shoot video. Like it's plain as day. Even in the lens hood technology, allowing you to change or the setting on your variable filter while the lens hood is attached. Like, it's all these little nuances that are making this lens a much more desirable choice for video shooters. Now, if you shoot extensively just photos, that is a little bit harder pressed for that $800 jump. I'm not gonna lie. It would be hard for me to admit that, hey, skip this lens, which is absolutely fantastic, optically excellent, a beast, weather sealed and all, lens, and spend $800 more for a lens that might be like that much more quicker with autofocus. Because I could almost bet that most people never complained about this lens when it came to autofocus. Now, this lens is saying it's that much faster, 50% quieter. I'm sure it is. Absolutely. But if this lens didn't come out, no one was complaining about this lens in the first place. So for me to say, yeah, get that lens, it's $800 or $700 more, it's worth it, it'll be hard pressed. Now, if you do both, you do photos and video, and you don't even own this lens, the Mark 1, and you want to spend $700 more, mazel tov. Go knock yourself out, okay? But $700 is a whole nother lens. For most people, the Mark 1 is a magnificent choice, and it's a staple for a reason. No one's ever made video complaining about this lens. I don't see those videos going viral. I'm sure many people are going to buy this lens. It sounds fantastic. If I had another $3,000, I'd go get it too, especially since I shoot way more video. But is it worth upgrading? Like, is it worth selling this already fantastic lens, losing money on it, because I'm not going to get $2,100 for it, and then upgrading to the other lens? I don't know. It's hard for me to say that. Now, of course, these are all just my opinions. Okay, that's all it is. So feel free to kill me down in the comment section. What do you think about this new version? What are the key features that makes you want to get it? What is more important for you, the photography aspect or the video aspect of the Mark II? Let me hear all down in the comments, please. Of course, if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, don't forget to press that like, that share, that subscribe, and yes, hit the bell so you get notifications of my future videos, my live stream of my photo shoots, and whatever rants I decide to share with all of you. Of course, I'm Robert Silver, and until next time, keep shooting and stay creative.